everybody, 'tis I, Spoonie. Well, I've gone on another one of those amazing retreats since my last video in August, and I have even more interesting news than ever. But before I get to all that, I should really post a video call I did last February with my mom, talking about a lot of the horrible abuse and medical neglect she put me through, as well as the horror story I described in the Spoonie's Gaslighting Extravaganza videos. Yes, she actually allowed me to record all this, and I am posting it completely uncut, awkward silences and all. Pencil fell. There is one part near the beginning when I stopped recording briefly in order to play back the video so that I could make sure y'all could hear her voice clearly. I wasn't recording it on my phone, but I did try to turn the phone several times so you could see it was her. Though for a lot of the call, while I was going on about the abuse, she actually disappeared off the edge of the screen, so you couldn't even see her anyway. And I was surprised when she actually acknowledged my emotions and admitted that I had some good points. I was even more surprised when she corrected some details about the Dr. Benninger / mental hospital incident, an extravaganza of gaslighting indeed. So, even though my mom always says that she doesn't remember why I hadn't called her in 7 years or whatever, she does remember that happened. And I feel like I could have mentioned to her, well, you'll see what I mean, but they were supposed to have discharged me at noon that day and somehow forgot to tell either one of us until 8 p.m. You'll see what I'm talking about. Other than that, I think I did a pretty good job. Maybe I could have added something about how it's too bad nobody ever loved her because she deserved to be loved. That might have made things way more intense, who knows. Also, a few important things I should clarify. You'll see what I'm talking about again. Pain receptors and fine touch receptors take the same pathway into the brain. And with some people that have sensory processing disorder, the brain can't very well distinguish between the two, so light touch can be interpreted as pain. This is what my mother learned to use against me. She would lightly touch me, I would feel an intense burning sensation. And then she'd act like I was the worst person in the world for trying to resist and telling her to stop. If other people were around, she would act like the biggest victim ever and say, "Stop making a scene! You're embarrassing me!" Every day. I mean, think about it. What the actual F? I should do a whole video about all that. What's even more interesting is I still felt this burning sensation as part of my normal life when I recorded that video. But soon after that, I went to another retreat and it stopped completely. I should also make a video about all the various things I didn't think I could improve and fortunately was wrong about. Yeah, so maybe I will after my next trip, which is to CSICon, where I'll be surrounded by scientists like Neil deGrasse Tyson. I'll have to tell you how that goes. Anyway, back to my mom. The last time I saw her in person was in 2016. And I was very much hoping that she would apologize for all this and keep her damn hands off me. Not only did she not even do those things, She was throwing tantrums because of how I was walking due to physical disabilities, which are a result of her medically neglecting me as a teenager. At that time, she even made me do something that caused me to re-injure myself, which she then punished me for even more. And ever since then, she's felt entitled for my entire life to complain about how I could never walk right, stand right, sit right, that this was constantly embarrassing to her. She always turns it around so that she's the victim. She was always putting her hands on me. I was always trying to push them away. It was like one continuous wrestling match, just being in the same room with her. All the way until I was 34, when I found that she doesn't have the slightest intention in being a safe person for me. That's because she would have to admit that constantly assaulting me for all those years was wrong. In the video, notice that she doesn't even seem to acknowledge that I even said that, and she never has. And I don't think she ever will, because if she did, she would have to acknowledge how damaging it was. And that's why she won't keep her hands off of me, and she still gets upset, like, if I tried to make her stop, or at least she would if she were anywhere near me. Thus, I tried to make the point to her that I am not a toy. I am a human being. Anyway, I hope that helps you understand better what's going on in this video. And now, for our featured presentation, me confronting my mom for acting like such a victim-y McVictim face, which she has always accused me of doing by comparing me to my dad, who is arguably worse than her. So, buckle up! It's gonna be a wild ride. Why don't we just start with talking about the Robin and the Starlings and how they would chase your mom?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, she was afraid of everything, so.
Yeah.
And so I really didn't let the Starlings run around. They weren't mean, but the Robin was. He was like, "Oh, scared of me, are you?" He was like that. He was like, if you flinched, he would like so take advantage.
Oh yeah, he totally did that with me.
Yeah.
Okay.
Fly right at your eyes, and then at the last minute pull up.
Indeed. Let's see, yes, and the Starlings, which were different. Quite different.
They were very sweet. And very smart.
Yes. And they made all kinds of interesting sounds.
Yes, and I didn't realize until you sent me that video that we could have taught them to talk.
Yes.
They would have been fine with it.
Yeah, that would have been pretty cool.
Yeah, I didn't realize. Apparently you can teach anything to talk.
Yeah. Well, many birds, yes.
I knew a dog once that would ask for hamburger, and she could say hamburger.
Wow.
Yeah. I will give you some hamburger. Can you say hamburger? And oh, yeah. That was incentive.
Wow.
Ouch.
Is your cat biting you?
Oh, yes, he's biting me. I have to push him away now.
I see.
I do. And William is sick, and I've had to take him off his meds to get some blood work done and now they want to. He has an overactive thyroid, so we have to go to the hospital and get a radioactive isotope injected into his tumor that's on his thyroid.
Oh.
That should cure him, because I've been giving him medicine twice a day for years, and the ture has gotten too big for medicine. They want to go in and kill the tumor. So I said, are you realizing what kind of cat this is? It's not going to be easy. And they're saying, oh, we specialize in older cats. And I'm like, no, he will bite you. and we'll be careful with him. I said, yes, you will be careful. The vet's like putting on full-length gloves and gauntlets and everything else.
Wow. Wow.
So anyways, that's my problem child right there.
I see.
He needs help, and he's gonna...
Anyways, yes, your sick cat. You're taking care of him. Oh, there he is. He's purring. Oh, sorry, I had put myself on mute. Sorry about that.
Oh yeah, I can see your mouth moving. Okay.
So, yeah, well, anyways, I don't know. I don't even know what to say.
That's okay.
I will say, well, the thing is I guess what I'm trying to get at is, you've always taken good care of your pets, right?
I tried. Well, when Tom was sick, I probably didn't, but...
Well, I guess, I don't know. Well, do you want to know, like, I mean, I don't really, why is it that I am, well, I mean, do you know why it is that I haven't talked to you in a while?
Well, I don't know. You're mad at me?
Well, that doesn't really begin to cover it. Well, I mean, you didn't take care of me when I was sick, when I was a child. At all.
Well, I think I did, but your feelings are completely valid.
You think you did?
Yeah, I think I did. I remember you went to a lot of doctors.
Well, I mean, it's sometimes yes, but other times, I didn't. Actually, I just wrote down. Okay, you want to know? You want to know why I don't want to talk to you? Why I haven't been talking to you? I'll just read it off. So you'll know. And you probably still won't understand, but anyways, I have a couple pieces of paper here. So, you can listen to me or not. I don't really... Anyways, I should have some blueberry tea. So, all right. Well, yeah, so you did. You've taken care of other members of the family. You took care of pets, but you did not take care of me. You did not pay attention to me. You acted like I didn't exist. I was not allowed to have emotional or medical needs. I thought that if I tried enough that I could also have the attention that everyone else got from you, but no, couldn't have that. Okay. So, Dad never approved of my existence beyond being a slave for him to abuse, and it has been resoundingly obvious that you never will either. My role in life has been to be a background character in other people's mental illnesses, to experience constant, excruciating physical and emotional pain. And if I can't hide that pain, it means I'm a little entitled bitch. My job was to let people hurt me, violate me, gaslight me, and make them feel good about themselves. For you, my job was to endure the burning agony of using my sensory processing disorder against me and to allow my dad and other adults to brutally abuse me every single day. When I developed serious and intolerably painful medical problems, you refused to take me to a doctor about them. You said it was because you didn't want me to tell anyone about them. I presume because it's easier to control someone who is suffering immeasurably. I could have died, but all I got was punished for suffering, displaying clear injuries and illnesses, except for that one time I had a severe infection on my hand. So you took me to the parking lot in the hospital and had me come in through an emergency exit so that I couldn't talk to anyone in the waiting room. Then I did something extremely inappropriate. I tried to tell a doctor about my very serious medical problems. And you grabbed my arm and dragged me back out the emergency exit, telling me that doctors do not care about my health. I am still doing physical therapy because you punished me for spraining my foot and then punished me to do something that re-sprained it, and then you punished me for that, blaming me instead of yourself. I was in constant agony with chronic pain. I could barely sit up, stand, or walk, and you and Dad were either yelling at me for it or mocking me for it because I didn't look ladylike or normal or whatever. But also, since birth, I've felt the pain of sensory processing disorder. The worst is the fact that my brain processes light touch as extremely painful itching, almost like an electric shock, which continues to burn away until it is extinguished by scratching, just like a regular itch. This is one big reason why clothing can make me feel like I'm burning, so I have to be careful what I wear. However, you and Dad were always trying to force me to wear clothing that wasn't heavy enough to actually feel like something other than electricity buzzing on my skin. And what made it hurt 10 times worse was when you would lightly brush me with your fingers or make ASMR noises, which are, guess what? The sound equivalent of light touch. It also causes explosive rage in some people, such as myself, plus physical pain because I also have mirror touch synesthesia. I can feel what you say, so my throat, lungs, tongue, and lips feel like they have fire ants biting them and crawling to any point on my skin, experiencing light touch and biting there as well. Instead of using my sensory differences as an advantage, they were literally used to torture me and make me look like I was randomly violent. At first, you were very understanding of these things. You actually helped me to scratch away the burning pain. You even corrected the way that you spoke so that you said the word without the ASMR sound. And then at some point, you just started doing these things just to get me to tell you to stop. Just to get me to push your hands away. Just to make me look like some spoiled, rotten brat who's having a temper tantrum. Just so that you could yell at me and tell me that I'm embarrassing you in front of other people. You told me that the worst thing I could ever do was tell people that they weren't allowed to touch me. You literally went around telling other adults at school, what few therapists I had, the neighbors on the block, whatever, that I was some unruly, randomly violent terror. You guys moved me into special ed for kids with behavior issues because you and Dad couldn't control me. They emotionally blackmailed, abused me, dragged me down the steps in a goddamn laundry bag, then locked me in an empty room caked with dust, full well knowing I'm allergic. Then they would call you to pick me up from school and you'd be so mad and punish me horribly. Then you would make me go to my room and wait for Dad. Then he would tell me how everybody at work hated him and made fun of him every day, like I was supposed to have sympathy for him. I would even tell him what happened to me at school, and he would tell me that the school staff was wrong to treat me that way, but I still had to respect my elders, and then he would beat my ass. And then you guys still pretended you didn't know why I was constantly behaving badly because of my sensory problems, even though I explained it to you all the time. You chose to use it against me and make it look like the problem was me. Then you put me in the mental hospital when I was 11, which was extremely dehumanizing. They were also extremely emotionally abusive and forced me to take Navane, which was a horrible drug that made me feel like crap. Then you put me in an even worse school, which later actually got shut down after I left. Then I was forced to stay at home alone all day while you guys were at work. Dad told me I was being watched on a hidden camera at all times and not to ever look at our set of encyclopedias. I didn't really learn much as a result other than reading science magazines. Meanwhile, we lived basically in a duplex with your dad on the other side. As I recall, you practically worshipped him, but he had some serious issues, so I wasn't allowed to see him or even talk to him on the phone. If I so much as waved to him when he was outside the house, you would glare at me like I was behaving inappropriately. When Dad finally left, but then took my computer, bicycle, underwear, whatever, I wasn't even allowed to have feelings about it at all because you complained about it. In fact, growing up, I was never allowed to cry. You and Dad would just laugh at me when I was crying. Then you'd scream at me. Dad would scream that he refused to let me, the evil demon, manipulate him into thinking that I was experiencing pain. But you would just complain about the sound of me crying, that I was being really inconsiderate of your feelings. You didn't care that I had completely debilitating problem with my uterus. I would suddenly feel cold, need exactly 6 blankets, and not be able to move from the pain. It was the worst pain ever in my entire life, and I would get punishment for the voluminous blood and the occasional screaming. It smelled so bad that you and Dad were mad at me for stinking up the entire second floor. When I was an adult, I was finally able to go to a gynecologist, and he sexually violated me and injured me so badly I could not put my weight on the place that he hurt for years. And I told you about it and said that I was going to call the police, and you acted so confused about why I would call the police that I felt ashamed and didn't call them because I felt that calling the police would mean that I was acting like a spoiled rotten brat who's throwing a tantrum over nothing. And later on, the whole Dr. Benninger and the gaslighting extravaganza happened in the same building, no less. I wonder if they're friends. The dude had people hold me down, they drugged me, tortured me, and sexually assaulted me. You and my boyfriend acted like I was being ridiculous and needed to shut up about it. There was a Niagara Falls of blood coming out of my mouth, but you refused to let me talk to the police. I finally made you take me to the ER, but the doctor I reported everything to was friends with Dr. Benninger, and you never corroborated my story, so he had me committed to a mental hospital. They didn't believe me. They constantly drugged me with horrifying things. I couldn't swallow. I was dehydrated. My entire body hurt. Blood dripped from my mouth for 6 days. I actually could have died because I was also bleeding from my ass, but they didn't care. And you could have just told them that I wasn't crazy, and they may have let me go. And as for my first ex, he told me he wouldn't tell them because he said that was none of their business. Like, they're literally torturing me in this facility. I was in physical and emotional agony. He wouldn't tell them that what I said happened, or otherwise I was being a big baby. And that's also what you told me to do. And I'm almost 42 years old, and it wasn't until I was 40 that I was finally able to stop having flashbacks about two things every single day, in public no less. I would scream, "Get away from me! Stop hurting me!" People must have thought I was schizophrenic. And these two things that I was having flashbacks from were the medical gaslighting extravaganza and your hands coming at me. I was having PTSD flashbacks about those every day until I was finally able to heal. I even would flinch every time my own hand went towards my head. I had to have therapy to get me to a place where I can touch my own head. And why did I have the flashbacks? I have never in my life ever been able to get you to take your greedy fucking claws off of me. You enjoy lightly running your fingers along my skin. And you like textures that hurt me. You want me to wear them because you enjoy the feeling so much. I am just a toy to you, a combination of a stimming toy and a dress-up doll. You enjoyed fucking torturing me. The last time I tried to get you to stop, I was 34. And I'm convinced if you were over here, you'd be trying all that shit still. You refused to let me protect myself from Dad, who was regularly threatening to kill me. You refused to protect me from your abusive boyfriend and any other abusive man, even your coworker who made a joke about wanting to have sex with me, and you were totally fine with it. It didn't matter how much abuse I was going through. You ignored me when I talked about it. I just thought you were fine with what was happening to me, that I was safe, everything was fine. I even had therapists do the same crap, but that's another story. So, you know what my brother says about all this? He said, it was absolutely horrifying what I went through. He said, if you had treated him this badly, he would never forgive you. But since it only happened to me, it doesn't really change anything for him. It's pretty obvious why he doesn't have any friends and thinks everyone is shitty and helps himself feel in control of his life by believing conspiracy theories on YouTube. He thinks you're a good example of a human being. So do a lot of people, but that doesn't make it so. And that's all she wrote. Do you understand now?
I think you have some good points, and I also think that you got some stuff wrong. But it's okay.
What do you think I got wrong?
I tried to talk you out of going to the mental institution. You insisted on going. I remember that. because they lied to you. They said, "Oh, we'll give you something to do the." I do remember that.
Yeah, they lied to me. That's what happened.
They said they give you something for the adrenaline, and you said, "Okay, then I want to go." And they kept you for 2 weeks. That's the only. They could only keep you for 2 weeks under law.
But you wouldn't tell them what happened. They didn't believe me.
I talked and talked and talked to those doctors. I got no feedback from them at all.
Really?
When you were there, when you were at in the basement, I remember I was talking and talking, and then when they let you back upstairs, there was a lady doctor that actually did sit down and talk to me.
Oh, yeah, Dr. Carmen.
Yeah, I don't remember her name, but... And we talked and talked, and then later that day, you called me and said, "Come get me. They're discharging me."
Yeah, and you didn't want to.
Yeah, well, I had just gotten home from... I'm like, why did she do that? Why didn't she just discharge you when I was there?
Right.
She let me go all the way home. And I'm like, oh, I got to go all the way back. And I'm like, okay. I did. I remember.
And then you just didn't care about any of that stuff, and you just paid the bills. And I told you, we got to go to court over this. I mean, you're just like, no, we got to pay the bill. I got to pay it anyway.
Well, you have to pay the bill, but I didn't.
You did. I saw you.
I couldn't afford it.
Oh.
I think it eventually did get paid, but I can't remember. I thought, no. Because I was having trouble paying the insurance premiums. And I thought, well, I can't go without insurance because of the bills. Yeah, my head was in a different place. I was trying to not lose the house, and I mean, it was kind of dicey there for a bit. And James said, "Mom, why didn't you just let the bank take the house?" And I said, well, no, it's our house. It's our home. Where would we go if I can't afford this house? I can't afford anything else. See, I remember that. And I was glad that I hung on to it, because I got to sell it and get a little bit of money out of it.
Well, anyways, just the very fact that, if you were here, I wouldn't be able to keep your hands off of me. I wouldn't be able to keep your hands off of me. You can't control yourself.
Well,
I'm not a toy. I do not exist for your amusement.
right.
That's basically all you are to me, is just somebody who just wants me to play this stupid game. And I refuse to play it anymore.
Okay, well, you have to do for yourself what everybody has to do for themselves. Figure out a way to like yourself and be happy. And however you need to do that, that's what you need to do.
Anyways, My point is, though, do you understand now?
I understand how you feel. You feel like you're a victim.
You feel like you're a fucking victim. You always blame me. You're always playing the victim. I call you out on some bullshit. And then you're just like, oh, you have to forgive me. You have to forgive me. I'm the real victim here. I'm not doing that anymore.
Okay.
I'm not afraid of you anymore. I had to have fucking therapy so that I could touch my own goddamn head.
Are you feeling better now?
Yeah.
That's good.
I've been, you know, I've been working on a lot of stuff. You know, I haven't told you about it, but I have been.
Oh, that's good.
Well, I feel a little bit better actually knowing that you at least tried to tell them what happened. But yeah. But you know, Phil, he wouldn't. He wouldn't say anything about it. He's like, oh, that's inappropriate. And then he just told me to pretend it never happened and that nobody cares and that nobody would ever care because I'm not an important enough person for anybody to ever care that that happened to me. That's what he said. He's just fucking asshole. That's why I left him. He just had absolutely no empathy. Excuse me. He had no empathy whatsoever towards me. I was just a toy for his amusement. Then Lucas, I was just a toy for his amusement. I basically have just been a toy for men's amusement for a while. And you never really helped me when I was in those situations because you never wanted to talk about it. So I didn't know what to think. I didn't have anybody in my life who could tell me that I was being abused. I didn't have anybody. Anyways, well, I don't know, I called you, I said what I was gonna say. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. But it's interesting to me that it's taken me this long to where I've gotten to the point to where you actually have some sort of understanding instead of just blaming me reflexively. You know, I didn't expect you to even listen at all. So, well, I'm glad you did.
Me too.
Well, anyways, I don't really have anything else to say. I mean, I think I've said it all. I mean, I could go on, but I don't, I don't need to.
Okay. Well, then maybe we'll talk again some other time.
No, I don't think so.
No?
No. I don't have any reason. And I still think that if you were over here, you would physically attack me. Because you're fucking crazy. And I don't feel safe. You are not a person that I have ever felt safe with.
Well, that's that's too bad. But however you feel is valid. I'm not telling you not to feel the way you do. I may disagree with you, but that's me. That's not you.
Well, you haven't been having to go through all this therapy. I'm still doing physical therapy because I didn't get that in childhood. Anyways, well, I should get back to things and stuff. And I guess you should just get back to your own things and stuff.
I do have some things and stuff.
Okay. All right. Well.
Okay. Bye-bye.
Bye. So that's my crazy mom.